Yo, what is going on everybody? It's Juan Solo here with A Squad Gaming and welcome back to the channel. Thank you all so much for tuning in today for some more Ghost Recon Breakpoint. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about the results of the community survey that went out about 2 weeks ago based on everybody's community feedback. So we will be going down through all of these survey results from different gameplay mechanics, bug fixes, and other requested changes and fixes from the community. But real quick before we jump into that, if you guys go on to enjoy the video, a like rating would be super appreciated. Also, for those of you that are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and turn on those post notifications so you do not miss any of my future uploads. So with the somewhat shaky launch of Ghost Recon Breakpoint, the developers put out a community survey about a couple of weeks ago, and based off of the feedback from the community, we are going to be going down through all of these survey results in today's video. Also, do take note that some of the things that the community wanted changed are not quick fixes and are going to take a little bit of time, and the developers do ask for our patience as they take the time needed to address our feedback. But the most requested change and fixes for Ghost Recon Breakpoint, as you guys can see by this annotation here, is over 50% of people want the AI teammates added to the game. And I've said this a number of times, I have no idea why they were not in the game from the start. I understand the direction that the developers were going with this lone wolf style game, but the AI teammates have been a huge staple in the Ghost Recon franchise, especially with the open world environment of Ghost Recon Wildlands. I have no idea why the AI teammates weren't a shoe-in from the start, but unfortunately we still do not have a timeline on when these will be implemented into the game, but they are working furiously to try to get them finished. Also, over 35% of the player base wants the removal of the gear score and tiered loot, enemy AI improvements, as well as a sell all weapons and gear at once option, which also the last one there is definitely a quality of life thing, and I do believe this is something that really needs to be in the game. As well as always with the enemy AI, it's always good to have them be smarter and tougher and more realistic, so hopefully those come sooner than later. And the fact that removing the gear score and tiered loot, this is something that, my personal opinion, it should not have been in Ghost Recon Breakpoint to start with, but I do see the fact that it does add replay value to the game with that gear grind. But on the other side of the coin, this is something that a lot of the community players really didn't want to see, and also by more than 30% of the player base wants the removal of the online requirements. And this doesn't take a crazy internet connection to run this game, but also this is the first online required Ghost Recon game in the history of the franchise, and from a development standpoint, I understand why they went that route with the shared progression between PvE and PvP, but there are a lot of people that just wanted to be able to play through the story without having to have an online connection, but we will see if that changes down the road. Now, moving on to the most requested additional content to the game, the first one is requested by more than 70% of the player base, and that would be new story content. And to be honest, the story was really good in Ghost Recon Breakpoint in my personal opinion. Yeah, there was some things that I definitely would have changed about it, but with the more narrative focused with the different cutscenes and all sorts of stuff like that when it comes to the characters, I would really like to see an extension of the campaign in some shape or form, and I think it would be really cool to bring in some of those nostalgic characters from the Ghost Recon franchise, like Scott Mitchell and Joe Ramirez, because for those of you that do not know, I have talked about this countless times on the channel. The events of Ghost Recon Breakpoint take place before the death of Joe Ramirez in Ghost Recon Future Soldier, and I would really love to see him come back into the franchise, because behind Scott Mitchell, he is the most well-known and sought-after Ghost in the history of the Ghost Recon franchise, and I would really like to see his return to the franchise. As well as more than 60% of players want new weapons. That is a shoe-in. Everybody wants more weapons in Ghost Recon, especially when it comes to some of the shoe-in staples of the franchise that were in Ghost Recon Wildlands that did not make an appearance in Ghost Recon Breakpoint. I'm looking at you, ACR. I have no idea why that weapon is not in the game. That was by far my favorite weapon to use in Ghost Recon Wildlands. And more than 50% of the player base wants more character customization and more gunsmith customization. So now moving more in depth with some of those changes, the removal of the gear score and tiered loot is in progress, and it was referenced in the moving forward letter that Ghost Recon and the developers released a little bit ago, and they are working on a more immersive and radical version of Ghost Recon Breakpoint that will be released early next year, which, to be honest, I'm really looking forward to. They're going to be removing the tiered loot and gear score and stuff like that, and if it's more of an immersive environment when it comes to the survival aspects, to be honest, that's all that I would really want for Ghost Recon Breakpoint. And also when it comes to the enemy AI improvements, this is also in progress, and they've already begun making improvements to help the enemy AI react more intelligently against the player, and this was showcased in Title Update 1.0.3. They made several adjustments to the stealth detection and behaviors, and the developers will be working on implementing ongoing adjustments to improve this in future title updates. Also, something that is in progress with the sell all weapons and gear. This is something that obviously if you're looting a lot of weapons and gear, you're going to have a lot of dupes and you're going to have a lot of things that you really need to get rid of. And currently you can only break down items one at a time, and that is something that is absolutely inexcusable, to be honest, with the amount of items that you're going to have. You could spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes disassembling items and stuff just to make it so that you don't have to do that for a little while. And that is something that is being worked on by the developers in an implementation for early next year. Also with the AI teammates, this was referenced in the moving forward letter as well. The developers are still hard at work on the AI teammates. And to be honest, I am okay with that. So don't put the AI teammates in if they're going to be clunky and broken. Make sure they're done right so we will get the full use out of them once they are in the game. Also, some other requested changes and fixes by the community would be vehicle handling, adjust the survival elements, and some adjustments to the in-game economy. So these are all things that are actually in progress and are going to be put in early next year. So the developers are working on adjusting the vehicle handling to make them better across the board, as well as they are working on a more immersive version of Ghost Recon Breakpoint like I talked about earlier, and this will be addressed with the survival elements early next year. And also they've begun making several adjustments to the in-game economy, including the removal of daily battle points cap and an increase in the rewards received from the faction missions, as well as they will have more additional adjustments coming to the in-game economy early next year. So one last thing that is actually in progress is the base jump improvements. So hopefully by early next year, they aim to have made the significant improvements to both elements to make this feature feel better. And to be honest, this is one of the more broken features in the game right now compared to Ghost Recon Wildlands. The base jumping in Ghost Recon Wildlands was on point. I never seemed to have any issues where I would just randomly jump off an object. And in Ghost Recon Breakpoint, it almost seems like I get it right 1 out of 10 times where I actually execute my base jump properly and I don't just fall to my death. Also, a couple of other things that is in progress is the removal of other players in Erewhon. That will be an option in the game, as well as the team is working on adjustments that can be made to the camera for early next year, so they will be able to adjust the camera angle. Personally, I wish we could have the Ghost Recon Wildlands camera angle just a little bit more zoomed out from the player, as well as they are investigating the possibility of implementing the sprint ability in the base of Erewhon, which I think is kind of a no-brainer at this point. And also they did say that there's going to be an implementation of the option to carry 1 or 2 primary weapons, and this is going to be implemented early next year. And I am really happy to see that, because currently the only way to do that is sort of glitch out the game and have 1 primary weapon. And with the fact that Ghost Mode in Ghost Recon Wildlands was such a popular mode and that only had 1 primary weapon, and when it comes to the look of your character, they look so much better with just 1 primary weapon on them, and this will be coming early in 2020. So now talking about the story content that is going to be coming to the game, obviously the first story content update will be released in December with the Terminator live event, and in addition to the live events moving forward, they're also going to have the upcoming adventures of Deep State and Transcendence for episode 2 and 3 of the year 1 content. So also with the Terminator live event, they will be adding new weapons to the game as well as new battle rewards, which you will have a lot of new weapons coming to our arsenal when it comes to all of those, as well as they are looking into the possibility of adding additional face and hair customization options for your Ghost, as well as the developers have heard our feedback when it comes to the gunsmith and changes with the gunsmith and the variant system that is in the game currently, and they are investigating the possibility of changing the gunsmith with the systems that they currently have in place. And to be honest, I really feel as if this is something that needs to be changed. Obviously with the different variants in the game, yes, you have other customization and stuff with those variants, but I feel as if they shouldn't take away from the customization of the gunsmith in Ghost Recon Wildlands, because overall when it comes to the gunsmith, I feel as if Ghost Recon Future Soldier had it spot on where it needed to be, and then they took a step back when it came to Ghost Recon Wildlands, and then when it came to Ghost Recon Breakpoint, I feel as if they took 2 steps back with the addition of the variant system and removing the stock and barrel customization in the game. So hopefully we see some changes with that come early next year. Also, when it comes to what your character can do early next year, there will be new skills, new customization with gear and clothing, as well as they're going to be implementing a compass in the HUD, which is going to allow you to check directions and stuff like that, which is really handy when it comes to the heads-up display. So something else that the community really wanted to see was some new vehicles as well as PvP content. So the Terminator live event will be including new vehicles as well as vehicle customizations, which to be honest, I cannot wait to see what we can customize on the vehicles. That seems really, really cool. And also with the other 2 episodes that are going to be coming later on down the road, they will also be including more vehicle customizations, as well as with the new PvP content, they're going to have updates to Ghost War coming in January, and they will communicate with us about these additions closer to the release date. But overall, that's pretty much going to do it for the video, this is all of the information surrounding the community survey that went out a couple of weeks ago. Based on all of our community feedback, the developers have listened. They are implementing a lot of changes that we wanted into the game, and to be honest, I'm really happy with the direction the developers are going with this game. I feel as if it's not too late to make all of these changes and keep the community engaged with this game, so hopefully we can get all of these changes sooner than later into the early 2020 and not span this out even further. But like I said, that's all for the video. If you guys enjoyed it, you guys found it helpful, you guys are excited about all of the changes coming to Ghost Recon Breakpoint over the next month or so, make sure to drop a like on the video and also subscribe if you are new to stay up to date on all of the information surrounding Ghost Recon Breakpoint as well as Call of Duty Modern Warfare on the channel moving forward. But that is all for now. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will catch you guys later. Peace out.